Fantasy football, RSVP. So let's get right to it with our rankings. We're back, NFL Fantasy Football RSVP on YouTube. Our top 10 complimentary rankings for you. And we have more rankings coming for our preferred VIP members. Very inexpensive, $7.77 a month. And you get all the inside rankings, including one-on-one training from yours truly, Dean Curry. Okay, let's go with the top 10. The first two are gimmies. Gimmies right off the bat. You got to go with McCaffrey. Better team. Okay, people, Barkley, Barkley. It's McCaffrey. McCaffrey's the number one pick. Anyone who doesn't pick McCaffrey, number one pick is, I don't know what they're thinking. You know, good team, good offensive line, good everything. Barkley's a great player, but he's on a bad team. And look, I'm a Giant fan. He's on a bad team. You got to go with McCaffrey number one, but Barkley's still gonna, be phenomenal. He'll be a great number two slot. He'll have a great year. Those two, the first two. In fact, the first five are all running backs. Got to go with Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott might be a little bit of a sleeper. I mean, he might do a little better than people think, but I still got to go McCaffrey, Barkley. But Elliott's a great, solid number three pick. As far as from there forward, we're going to go with those three. Nothing needs to be said. Good offensive lines, except for the Giants. But Barkley's going to have a really good one. I really like Dalvin Cook, even with contract negotiations with Minnesota. He was a surprise last year. Good running back, good team, good offensive line. Their defense gives them a lot more opportunities. They're going to sign him. I mean, it's Dalvin Cook. Same thing for Kamara at number 5. A lot of people, or not a lot needs to be said about these. We'll speak more about the ones coming up from 6 to 10, some of the honorable mentions. But as far as those four, nothing needs to be said about McCaffrey, Barkley, and Elliott. And as far as I'm concerned, Dalvin Cook. As far as Kamara, nothing really needs to be said there. He's going to have a huge year. They're worried about contract negotiations. The Saints are saying they're going to trade him. Trade him. Wherever he goes, he's going to have a big year. They'd be foolish to they say these, we're going to trade him. Trust me, the Saints are not going to trade Alvin Kamara. Give me a break. They're not going to trade him. Okay, it's just a stalemate. They play chess back and forth, and we're going to trade Alvin Kamara, and then it's supposed to scare Kamara's agent, which it's not, into signing. It's just a chess match. Okay, Kamara, even if he doesn't play the first week, two, whatever, which I highly doubt, he's going to get signed. He's going to have a huge year. You could even flip those two, Dalvin Cook and Kamara at 4 and 5. First 5 are running backs. I think it's just it's so easy this year that the first 5 have to be running backs. Those two are a tier above, what's to come next in wide receivers. And then when you go to wide receivers, which I am at number 6, people are talking about Mixon in the top 10 and Clyde. Mixon's on a bad team. Didn't you see what happened last year? How is Mixon in your top 10? I'm not saying he's not going to have a good year, but he's on a bad team. And they have a bad quarterback. When you don't have a good offense, it puts more pressure on the running back. Everyone knows this. I must have seen 10 rankings. I like to see what other people are saying. It's at least 10 rankings online that had Mixon in the top 6 or 7. I think that's. Don't get me wrong. I like Mixon. I like the team. I'm a fan. I'm just saying, top 5, 6. I mean, you got to be kidding me. He's not even my top 10. But as far as wide receivers go, not a lot needs to be said. It's Michael Thomas. It's the number 1 receiver. I mean, who else is going to top him? Hopkins? Hopkins is on Arizona. I mean, this is a new offense, kind of a new quarterback. Hopkins struggled last year in Houston. And do I think Hopkins will have a good year? Yeah, I do. But he's not going to have a bigger year than Thomas. So I'm seeing Hopkins ahead of Thomas. And, I love other lists. I love other, people that do this sort of thing, and you kind of see what they're saying, and I follow other people and stuff like that. So I think it's all good, but I just don't understand how you're putting Hopkins ahead of Thomas, I think Hopkins at number 7 is a little high, honestly. I debated putting him a little lower, but at this point, after the first 5 picks being running backs, these guys are going to, after 5, picks go, you got to think wide receiver. because they're going to come off the board very quick when those top five go. And then I'd go Hopkins. As far as Hopkins is concerned, I think he'll have a really good year. A young quarterback, a rising offense. I think he's going to do very well and have a bit of a comeback year. I think the offense is more suited. Houston, he had a big year one year. Trying to figure out what Houston's trying to do. They got Watson. Great, this guy had a stellar year with Hopkins, and then it's like they did the exact opposite the following year. I think having a little bit more of a running game, might help that team, which they should. But they need to alter that offense a little bit. So I actually glad that Hopkins is Arizona. I think he's going to flourish there. So I think it's a solid pick. But first five running backs go. You got to think wide receiver, and those two have to be, in my opinion, Thomas and Hopkins. As far as going forward from there, I would go running back at number 8. Running back at number 8, a little bit of a surprise here. People are thinking Edwards, Hilaire, KC. Who knows what Reed is going to do? This, Hilaire, is going to be this like great. He might go with a totally different running back. I mean, you just don't know, And, I don't like putting guys in the top 10 that are unproven unless they're like, I don't know, like a Barkley coming out of college or something to that degree. I just don't think, you just say, they like to run the ball. KC, Hilaire's going to have a great year. You don't know that. What if he starts fumbling right off the bat? Reed pulls guys like that. There's too many question marks. I understand why people would put Hilaire in the top 10. I put him in my honorable mention. But just too many question marks. I like to be more solid, conservative in my picks. And although I do like the player and I like the offense for a running back, he's not a proven running back, and you just got to be careful there. You really got to be careful. Reed's been known, their coach, to do switch guys in, switch guys out. And this is not a proven running back by any stretch, although I do think he'll have a good year. This is my honorable mention. I actually really like Derrick Henry here. I think Tennessee's going to surprise. When I say surprise, they're a good team. They did well last year. Are they going to surprise many people? I think they're going to be a little better than people think. And they're going to be a real force I think they're going to ride that high off the playoffs last year. Tannehill looked better every week, including the playoffs. And so did that Derrick Henry. And so did that they have talented receivers. I think this whole team's offense, from the quarterback to the wide receivers to, the running back, Derrick Henry showed people he could catch the ball. And, a lot of reports coming out here in training camp that, he's really working on a lot of pass routes, catching over the shoulder, and they're trying to really incorporate him into the receiving game. I think he's going to have a big year. In fact, I would put him even higher than 8. Some people don't have him in the top 10. I think it's a huge mistake. I think Derrick Henry at number 8 is a really solid pick. He could go higher. I just like the 7 other players better. But I'm really high on Derrick Henry. At number 9, I have someone that, what's funny is I saw about 15 solid top 10 lists all over the internet. I won't mention who, but they were the top companies like myself that do this, and he wasn't in one top 10 list, and it's Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill, a lot of people don't realize he had an off year. He was injured last year. I just think that offense, the way they run with Mahomes and Kelsey and, the running back Hilaire, and they have other good receivers on that team. I just think, the people don't understand. Tyreek Hill used to be double teamed a lot. They're not going to be able to double team him. They're going to have guys on the bench that are good. And, this offense with Mahomes, growing, and this, evolving offense, I don't think they're going to be able to double team Tyreek Hill. They have other guys that they're going to have to worry about. And I just think it's going to open his game. And people don't realize how good he was the year before he was injured. I think I think not to have this guy, I couldn't believe, looking around. Again, I'm glad these lists are out. Could not believe Tyreek Hill was not in the top 10. Most of the lists I saw, he wasn't even in the top 15. I was just like, are you kidding me? But this is what happens when a guy has an off year, and he's injured. And then what a lot of people don't understand, being a personal trainer, being a rehabilitation specialist, is something we bring to the table here that a lot of people don't. Is I've been dealing with sports injuries for a long, long time. And those injury, he came back last year and was injured. That's why his numbers were low. And people that are not personal trainers, clinical massage therapists, people that don't know the anatomy, don't study sports rehabilitation and train people in these areas, just figure, he'll had an off year. And they don't realize football players never come back at 100%. They come back when they're 70, 75%. He was playing hurt the whole time. It was obvious he was playing hurt. And being, the extensive knowledge I have, and that's what we bring here that's a little different, is understanding injuries and rehabilitation. He came back and people think his numbers are off. He's going to be 100% this year, and watch what happens. Got to be in your top 10. I put him at number 9. And a little bit of a surprise here at number 10. Not a surprise as far as a player, but I really believe Davante Adams, you got to put in here at wide receiver for Green Bay. He had an off year last year, but a lot of people don't realize that was a new offense. That's why I don't have Hopkins rated higher, because he's going to be in a new offense. And that's a 2-year-old offense to begin with. So those take a while. I like what Green Bay did, trying to establish the running game, trying to get the ball out quick. But they have a lot of young receivers over the last 2 years. I won't mention all of them now, that are truly, truly talented. And, they established a really good, solid foundation in a way to keep Aaron Rodgers healthy. He was like the least sacked, hit quarterback throughout the whole year. And it took a while for them to get this offense going. But I really like what they're doing. It's a little more conservative. But when Aaron Rodgers goes back and passes all the time like he used to in the past, and just sit in that pocket and get hit and hit and hit, you saw the injuries. And last year that didn't really happen. And I think this year that offense is going to evolve, along with the growth of some of these young receivers they have on this team. And, they were double teaming, Davante Adams. And Davante Adams was a little injured last year, okay? He was a little injured, and he was playing through some injuries that weren't being reported. But, I can see that he was injured. And, I think he's going to have a bounce back year. In fact, I think that offense is a good fantasy football offense. I think that you're going to see some really growth, evolving offense in Green Bay. And I think you're going to see Adams have a really bounce back, strong year. So I like him at number 10. We mostly went running backs, but we, 6 running backs, 4 wide receivers. 6 and 4 is usually the way I go on my top 10. 6 running backs, 4 receivers. And then we want to go into honorable mention. It's not going to be Edwards-Helaire. I'm going to go, I think Josh Jacobs was a solid player last year. I think that offense, I'm a big Gruden fan. Okay, he made a lot of changes. A lot of people are not big on, but knowing him and seeing him spend several years developing an offense, everything he does, I know exactly what he's doing. It takes a few years for Gruden's offense to come alive, and I really think in fact, Josh Jacobs could easily be in the top 10. That's why I put him as honorable mention. It's just that the team is still growing. And I still think they're a year away from really developing, their guys. They have some quarterback issues. The wide receivers are coming along, but they're young. And that's going to put more pressure on the running back. So I think, Josh Jacobs, most top 10s have him in there. You certainly put him in. But because of that, not a great offense. And their defense isn't super great either. So I think that he's an honorable mention, just outside the top 10. I also think that Nick Chubb is could easily be in a top 10. He's almost in every top 10. The reason why I left him out is I don't like what I'm seeing in Cleveland. They got great star players. On paper, one of the best teams in the NFL. But there's certain issues going on with that team that are really hard to put a finger on. They should be a lot better than they are. I know that some players are young, but they have a lot of veteran players. I don't like a lot what's going on with the offense. I don't know if you could, blame the quarterback Baker. I just didn't like what I saw, and with a new coaching system, maybe we'll see something else. But there's a lot of inside the locker room problems there, and that's making me they could either be really good, or there's a chance that team could fall apart, even with all the talent they have. So I would like to see maybe a new foundation put in with the offense that is more structural than actual player personnel. Because player personnel, Nick Chubb's a great player. He's a solid top 10 player. That's why I have him my honorable mention. I just think there's too much going on with Cleveland. It's hard to figure out. So I just had to move him down a little, but he's in my honorable mention. Same with Julio Jones with Atlanta. I think that offense and that team is going to surprise some people, have a little bit of a bounce back as well. And I'm not saying Julio Jones is going to have a great year, but he's just outside the top 10. And he's a solid player, and I think that offense is going to bounce back a little bit. They had some tough breaks last year. And Julio Jones is still Julio Jones. I mean, it's very easy for Julio Jones to have 6 or 7 catches for 80, 90 yards or even more, almost like 100 yards every 80, 90 yards. He's almost guaranteed 6, 7 catches. And if he stays healthy, which is a problem, his health, that's why I put him in, below the top 10. As far as from there, these are not honorable mentions. Joe Mixon on a bad team might have a really good year. A lot of players have him. Companies have him in the top 10, along with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Those are guys to keep an eye on. I probably would like Helaire more than Mixon. Some people I can't tell you how many people had Mixon in the top 10 on a bad football team, and so I'm not really big on that. But aside from that, that is our top 10. You can become a member on our website, www.fantasyfootballrsvp.com. That's also our YouTube channel. And you can get one-on-one advice from me. You pay $7.77 a month. That's like, what is that? Less than $2 a week. And you will get my advice one-on-one. You have a 7-minute, session with me on Skype or Zoom or something like that. You also can email me your list each week, and I could adjust it for you or give you suggestions. That's, once a week you could do that. And, it's really great to get that one-on-one advice. You could send the email once a week, and that will be for the whole year. So, and you could go on www.fantasyfootballrsvp.com. or just put in fantasyfootballrsvp.com, and there'll be a button there to become a member, and we'll make sure that you get the best advice you possibly can with our team. And I'm Dean Curry, Fantasy Football RSVP. So have yourself a wonderful day. We're back, NFL.